I have seen the world from the decks of His Majesty's ships, from the coasts of the Americas to the blue waters of the Caribbean, and I have seen what men can do to one another when greed outruns conscience. I was but a boy when I joined the Navy, 13 years old and full of salt air and pride, eager to serve my country. Those years taught me more about the empire than any court or council chamber ever could. It was there, under the burning sun, that I first witnessed the trade in human flesh, ships packed tight with Africans, treated as cargo, bought and sold like beasts. I could not then make sense of such cruelty, yet it was the world's accepted order. Now, as king, I have lived to see that order begin to change. The year 1833 will, I believe, be remembered not for my name, but for the act passed in my reign, the abolition of slavery throughout the British Empire. It was not easily won. For years the matter had stirred Parliament and divided good men. Some argued that our prosperity depended upon the plantations, others that no wealth could be worth the degradation of a soul. I have listened to both sides, and God knows I have wrestled with them in my own heart. As Duke of Clarence, before I ever wore the crown, I spoke often in defense of the planters. I did so not from malice, but from a sailor's loyalty to his countrymen overseas, men who had built lives in the colonies and feared ruin. Yet as time passed, and the voices of Wilberforce, Clarkson, and Buxton grew louder, so too did the nation's conscience. It became clear that England could not call herself Christian while profiting from bondage. When the bill was laid before me, I read it with care. I knew it would cost the Treasury millions in compensation to the slave owners and cause great disruption across the empire. But I also knew that justice, though dear, must be paid for. It was not my place as monarch to shape the law. That belongs to Parliament, but it was my duty to give assent when the will of the people and the voice of God seemed one and the same. On the 28th of August, 1833, I signed the act into law. I will not pretend that freedom came gently. In the plantations of the West Indies there was confusion and fear. Some masters resisted, others rejoiced. The newly freed, uncertain of what liberty would bring, sought land, work, and dignity. It was not a single act that ended centuries of injustice, more a beginning than a conclusion. Yet from that moment no man, woman, or child could be owned by another under the British flag. That, I think, is worth the hardships that followed. There are those who call me the Sailor King, a plain fellow with rough manners and little grandeur. So be it. I would rather be remembered for plain deeds than polished words. I am proud that during my short reign I have lent my name to a law that speaks to the better nature of humankind. I have no illusions. Slavery will not vanish from the earth because Britain has renounced it. Other nations still traffic in misery, and greed is not easily slain. But perhaps by our example others will follow. When I was a midshipman, I learned that a captain's honor is judged not by his comfort, but by how he treats the least of those under his command. A king, I think, is much the same. If any good has come from my years upon the throne, let it be said that I stood, however humbly, on the side of mercy.